was it 54? Episode 54?
I think so. So I can keep track of the time.
Oh boy. Hello friends, and welcome to episode 54 of From the Van. It's a podcast from my van, where I have conversations with people who have relationships with residential vehicles. I'm your host, Marty Benson, and here with me today in the van, whether I like it or not, is Colette Hamilton. We are in week 2 of the California pandemic shutdown, and Colette has experienced 2 electronic deaths in the family this week that have nothing to do with the pandemic outbreak.
Yeah.
What's going down, bud?
So, a couple weeks ago, my computer had some issues happen to it, and I took it into a repair place in La Jolla to get fixed, and it is not repairable. So that was really fun. Start to the week. The computer not repairable. So now, and I didn't have everything saved. So, and honestly, this is like the second time that's happened to me, and I've never learned my lesson to back up everything on my computer. Never learned that lesson. So, you know, be smarter than me.
Just because I feel obligated to twist the knife, we should note that when she says some things happened to her computer, that is Hamilton for she poured beer into it.
I didn't pour beer into it. It spilled. Okay.
And what happened to the last one?
It got tea.
Oh, it got tea.
It was different. I spilled tea on the desk and the back of it because I was at one point in my life I dated this guy who thought it was sexy to throw my computer off the bed onto the floor before,
Yeah, toxic masculinity. I've heard of that before.
And I was like, okay. And so the back of it had a bit of a dent in it. It was a Mac where like it was like exposing all the insides of it.
The guts, yeah.
So I spilled some tea on a table and it got into the back of the computer. So I don't learn my lesson. That's the moral of the story. But what's really interesting right now is that I am having a really hard time finding a refurbished Mac because everyone is buying them because of the pandemic.
We switched over to remote work, and everybody needs a computer now, where a month ago, 2 months ago, when I had to buy a new computer because I broke my computer, they were everywhere. It was super easy to get your hands on.
Yeah, and I was at the repair place, and they're super nice, and I was like, well, do you sell refurbished Macs? And he was like, we do, usually, but we don't have any left right now because everyone's bought them. And Best Buy is sold out, and Apple is sold out. So that's super fun. So I'm going to have to find a computer somehow. And then the other very fun thing
we should say that, I'm just going to segue, is that we're in the van right now. We're sheltering in our mobile home. We've been staying at your mom's driveway because she has an extra shower and shitter for us. But right now we're sheltering at home while driving to Temecula. Why are we driving to Temecula from Oceanside?
Are you enjoying watching me hurt? This is so fresh, I could still cry.
I think it's important to get people in their moving times so that other people can experience solidarity with their passion and emotions.
Yeah. I have a 2004 Toyota Prius that we got new when I was a kid, and it got handed down to me when I got my driver's license. So I've had it for nearly 10 years in the hands of me. It's the most amazing car ever. It's fantastic gas mileage. It's super sturdy. Just a beautiful fucking car. And the other day, the Priuses are all like computerized. They have even old ass but good computers in them. At least the 04. And so the computer was showing all of the warning lights on for the vehicle. And we took it in, and the Prius battery is dead. And so if you know anything about that, a refurbished one costs at least $3,000 to replace, and a 16-year-old Prius with 260,000 miles on it is barely worth $1,500. So the car is now dead. So rest in peace to Finch, the Toyota Prius.
Oh, Finch.
This is very depressing. If you've listened closely to the podcast, we also call him my closet, because I keep a lot of clothes in there. So now I don't have a car.
Well, I mean, the silver lining is that we're stepping down right now, since we haven't sold the Metris yet. We're stepping down from a 3-car family to a 2-car family, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, but hopefully we're going to sell the Metris.
And then we'll just live in the van and not need three cars, you know?
Well, and see, Marty went for 8 years without a car, and where he got around everywhere on a bicycle and public transportation. I don't have as much skill as he does, so you know, the question is, at some point, do I have to get another car?
That's a daunting question.
It's interesting, because when you live in a vehicle with another person, that's a pretty codependent relationship, because we have to, we go where our home is, and we have to both be in the same area and the same place and figure out all that stuff. And we've always been pretty much located in San Diego, so that made it, with my car around, like, easy for me to go to other parts of San Diego to do work and come back. But without that, it would have made it a lot more difficult, especially because a lot of the theaters that I work at are not close to any public transportation, or they are, but because California sucks when it comes to San Diego sucks when it comes to public transportation. When you get out of rehearsal at 11:30 at night, how do you get home? And Marty would say a bike, but some of us don't know how to bike 30 miles at night. So I don't know.
Well,
it's very loaded.
There are a bunch of questions out there, dangling in the air. We're experiencing a new level of minimalism, because we're driving out right now to go get the car and try to decide whether we get the mechanic to turn it over to salvage, or whether we try to get it to a salvage so that we can get a little money out of it. But the irony, I think, part of the irony, is that we're living in a brave new world right now where we really don't know what's gonna happen in the future.
Sure.
I was talking to Aaron on the phone earlier. I want to get him on the podcast one of these days. He's got so many great insights about different things. But he's been following this whole thing really closely. One of the things we were talking about is that one of the good things that's going to come out of this is that there's been the infrastructure for remote work available for a really long time, and of course it's only becoming faster and more robust, and the options in terms of supervision and trading files and that sort of thing are getting faster and bigger. But there hasn't been the impetus, the political will, or the societal desire to really enable it. And now it's sort of like you're either doing it or you're working in one of those essential services where crackers have to be put on a shelf or whatever.
Or you're unemployed.
Which both of us are now. But, the thing is, the good news is that if this was going to happen to your car, it's sort of like, I hate to say it, but it's sort of like an ideal time for this to happen to your car, in a moment where, at least for the next 30 days, we know that we're not really supposed to go anywhere anyway.
Yeah, but we were using it to go to the grocery store, and I don't know.
Yeah, we usually drive it instead of this, unless we need to take the house somewhere, or am I supposed to be in the right lane here? well down. Unless we need to take the house somewhere or like lug a bunch of stuff around, we would normally take the Prius. But I mean, that's an economy that doesn't warrant owning a second car. I don't think, generally speaking. So that begs the question, and I've been sort of wondering about this too. Aaron and I talked about this earlier on the phone. There's a real split right now in terms of the wisdom and advice and opinions on a couple of things that are dear to my heart. Like, the two of us right now are sort of momentarily unemployed, indefinitely, with some prospects of getting gigs, but nothing really on our plate right now. It's sort of an ideal time for us to do the van life thing and go see some stuff, and like camp out in the wilderness and do some BLM boondocking or whatever. But is that really responsible? There's a similar split in the surfing community. Half of the surfers that I know are saying surfing is one of the safest things I could possibly do. Why would anybody tell me not to do it? And then a lot of the other surfers that I know are saying, surfing is awesome, but it's far more important for us to, heed the stay-at-home orders and not be out like trouncing around and stuff. And I don't really know where I fall on it. This is something this is a trip that we really sort of have to make, because we can't just leave your vehicle. We can't not get your stuff out of your vehicle, and we can't leave your vehicle in the shop indefinitely either. They need to get rid of it. So this is something we have to do. But, we're driving away from home base right now, and I'm wondering if we ought to stay out there for a little while. I can't really. What do you think?
No, not this week.
Not this week?
Not this week.
What about this week? Why this week?
Because I'm about to be on my period.
Oh, right.
And something. You're welcome, viewers, but if you're a lady in a van, it is. I mean, I haven't figured it out, but I do not want to be away from a shower when it's that time of the month.
Sure. Understood.
If we can have a sort of outdoor shower situation, which we don't have right now.
Oh crap! We could have grabbed the shower head from the mattress, and I forgot.
Oh, I forgot about that too.
Because it would totally fit on our new faucet.
It's the same faucet.
Yeah.
The thing is, we don't have an outdoor shower situation right now. If we did, it would make boondocking a bit more appealing. But this week, absolutely not. It's just not going to happen.
Understood. Deal. I had forgotten about that.
It's so uncomfortable to not have a really nice shower.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just a lot going on.
In that situation.
Yeah.
That's something else hopefully we can figure out a way that we can do maybe a Zoom call or something. I'd like to kind of do a round table with some other van lifers, because I know that everybody's sort of got it different. I've been keeping in touch with Jared and Jenny and Alex, obviously, and I know that both of them have situations where Jenny and Alex have their shop that they can stay at.
Yeah.
And then Jared has sort of hunkered down next to Nomadic Customs up in Portland. So those are similar situations to what we have, staying in your mom's driveway. But I'm really curious about. Oh, and I talked to Drifter Journey yesterday. They're or maybe that was this morning. They're hunkered down at like one of their cousin's house or something like that, in Oceanside too. And I just sort of wonder about what everybody else is doing. I know that Caleb and Madeline are out on a trip that looks like with Christian, and it looks like they've been staying in completely, they've been only going to like deserted places.
Yeah.
And the only real harm I see in doing that at the moment that comes to mind is the fact that you have to take your dump in a gas station, right? And you have to go into a gas station to fill up every time you're out of gas. So the more you're driving, the more public contact you're going to have.
Sure.
But, I mean, I feel like I feel like a whole lot of people in our current culture go out to eat 2 or 3 times a day anyway, and to the extent that they're getting takeout, I have my questions about how much interaction that constitutes, you know. So if you're going to the store once a day anyway, then why shouldn't it be a gas station, I guess?
Yeah, I keep thinking, like, part of me is like, oh, well, if this is going to go on for a bit, why not use it as remote vacation time?
Right.
But I'm also I just feel weird about that, and I don't quite know why.
Yeah.
But it feels wrong.
Right.
So, I don't know.
It does sort of, but I don't know, we're going to have to get a spade. You're going to have to learn to take a dump in the woods, in the ground.
No, thank you.
Because that's a limitation, right? But, you know, what Aaron was saying is, like, he's like, yeah, I don't see anything wrong with you doing that. What you should do is aim for a stream on federal land out in Colorado or something, and get a water filtration system and just stay there.
Yeah.
You know, just learn to start foraging for, like, wild invasive species and stuff. And that's a very romantic idea.
What? Foraging?
Yes.
How is that romantic?
Literally living off the land. Minimalism is cute and sexy, but we're still doing we still have all the modern comforts of the 21st century that we had before we moved into a van.
Yeah.
I mean, on the one hand, I feel bad and a little bit smug, but I feel bad for people who never learned to cook, because what the hell are they doing right now? You know what I mean?
Sure.
In this time where you can't go to the bodega and get your pizza or whatever.
Maybe you know that you can't forage for beer in the wilderness.
I do, but I also feel like a bit of a fraud drinking so much beer and never having brewed it. I'm very proud to say that I'm good at making fried chicken. I felt like a fraud for a while because I had never done that. But yeah, no, foraging for food is like the next level, you know what I mean?
That doesn't sound like fun to me.
Well,
I don't eat meat. What am I? Just berries and nuts and shit?
That's all the shit you eat's made out of right now anyway. Grains, nuts, and fruits, and vegetables.
Cheese isn't made out of any of those things.
That's true.
A life without cheese.
You could milk a mountain goat.
No, thank you.
Why not?
That sounds creepy.
See? That's what I'm saying.
I like the comforts of modern life.
Me too. But I think that, like, knowing which weed is not healthy for the local environment and also tastes like arugula would be a dope skill set to have.
Sure.
But, you know, if you get enough dry rice and beans, you can also just not do that and live out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, right now we don't have a shower system, we don't have a water filtration system. So, how long we really stocked up just thinking about water, how many days could we really go?
We could get 12 gallons of water in the van, and that'll do us a week and a half, I guess. Unless we're showering.
Yeah.
If you're showering, oh boy, I feel like a 1 gallon shower is like a borderline miracle, you know?
Well, that's what Jenny and Alex have. Because
they've got that sponge thing. No, it just barely puts any water out.
Oh.
I can't remember what that's called. They seem to be stoked. I gotta talk to them because they seem to be stoked on it again. But it also, when they first used it, said it wasn't that great. And for anybody listening, I apologize because I have no way to give you any frame of reference. It's some new shower system that they have that apparently you can take a full shower on a gallon of water, and it's got a heating element in it, and I can't remember what it's called. Maybe I'll put it in the link in the bio. Or
I think they
like
posted
that.
about it on their Instagram.
Oh,
so
yeah.
just go over to Terra X and find out for yourselves.
Yeah, bother them. Ask them stupid questions.
How's your mental health doing right now?
Mine?
Yeah.
Well, I was talking. Yeah, pretty good. I think it was hard for me getting into this. Like after about 4, 5, 6 days or something like that in the lockdown, I really got stressed out and sad for a day. Real upset. It's a jar to the system, man.
Yeah.
But the great thing, and my sister so brilliantly said that, you know, you would feel a lot more self-pity, I think, if everyone wasn't going through this right now.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, but everybody's doing it. The conference call I was on today has a bunch of like very clever, relatively high profile environmental political actors, and everybody's just sort of aghast at what's going on. You know, it's a brand new situation for all of us.
You know the worst part about losing my car?
What's that?
I'm just never gonna have a car that good ever again.
They don't make them like they used to, right? That's that cliche.
I do, but I don't have
kids these days.
I don't have the money for it.
Yeah.
I can't get a new Prius.
You never had a new Prius, though.
No, I did not. But still, that 04 got 45 miles to the gallon. Ran like a dream.
Yep. You know, hopefully we can figure out a way to, either create our own individual, mobility autonomy so that you and I can both go places without the van. But at the same time, I think the other sort of goal to strive for is to create a situation where you don't need to go anywhere. You know?
Yeah, but that's just never going to happen in the career that I'm in.
I don't know. I mean, you're basing that on a world that used to exist and may again.
I don't think that the coronavirus is going to change the future of theater. I think it's going to harm theater in a lot of ways financially, but I don't think it's going to change the form or how it's presented.
Interesting. I don't know. The last 2 decades of political involvement for me have sort of made me decide that I don't really want to come to make assumptions about basically anything anymore, because I really don't know. Oh, we are coming up to what?
Oh, go ahead.
Say it.
I just, from what I know about the history of theater's been around a long time, and all the history that I know about it and what it's been through, it's not changed. There'll probably be some good art that comes out of this, but live theater will do its thing, as it has been.
I hope that you're right. I hope that you're right. We are coming up to a border patrol zone. I wonder what they're looking for. I kind of hope we get stopped.
They're not going to stop us.
But it would be fun if we got stopped on the podcast. Don't be such a Debbie Downer.
We're two white people. We're not going to get stopped.
Ooh.
You know how many times I've been
wearing
through this
that
border
privilege.
patrol? It's just, I live here. This is what I used to go through the border patrol every day to go to school.
Yeah. How is your mental health?
It's pretty shitty.
Yeah?
Pretty shitty.
Tell me about it.
Well, you know, like we just talked about, all of my things are broken, so that's super fun.
Mm-mm.
And I don't have a job right now. So financially, it's a lot, and I know that, the things will turn up, but that doesn't make it a whole lot easier in the moment. And it's hard. It's hard to not see people. It's staying at home all day, like, brings me back to a time where I was really depressed. And so it's just not, I don't know, the connotation of it isn't great, and so it's making the experience a bit colored already for me.
What do you think you need? What's going to help?
I think staying busy helps a lot. Staying in contact with people that I love helps a lot. And finding a way to do my art in some way will help.
Good. And we have a Zoom conference call tonight.
Yeah.
Now, explain to me what we're doing, not just for the sake of the podcast, but also so that I know what we're doing.
My friend Sheena and I have been collaborators for a long time and have produced a lot of projects ourselves. And so we decided that, or we had a conversation about how do we make something right now? How can we make art right now? Because we were just about to produce a project when this all went down. And so we decided on two kind of places to start. One is doing readings over Zoom, maybe eventually over social media live stream-esque platforms. So getting a bunch of people together and presenting a play and just reading it together, maybe for an audience. Tonight we're not doing it for an audience, but just, it's always good to just read plays and, like, be in the room with other artists. It's always good energy. So that's one of the things that we'd like to do, and then we've talked about how we can make videos of things that we've written or pre-existing plays or adaptions or whatever, where people can film their part of it. We can direct it via Zoom, and people can record their piece, their monologue, scene, whatever it is at home. So you and I could do a two-person scene because there's two of us, but someone else, where they're at home by themselves, find a way to just have their part be on their own. And then we take all that and edit it together. It's probably going to be very difficult, but hell, we have a lot of time on our hands right now, so it doesn't matter that much.
Sounds to me like you have a pretty good grasp on how to do theater in the new world.
That's not theater, though. It's still not theater. It's film. It's like we're playing. Now theater people are playing with film because that's what we have.
I like it.
So we'll see.
I look forward to being involved. Hopefully I can read with enough gusto that I don't get kicked out.
Yeah. It's just, it's nice to still do things, and I should be reading more plays and maybe doing a little writing and things like that. Getting a new computer will definitely help. But I think, yeah, you gotta find some way to do things that you enjoy right now, at least for me, for my well-being.
I think I said this before. I know I've told you, but I think I said this before on one of our pieces of media. But one of the things, I don't think I should feel guilty about this. I'm not really sure, but one of the things I've been noticing in my brain about this is that, like, there's this, like, element of, like, I don't know if it's, like, most plainly I could describe it as just curiosity, but it might also be, like, disaster fetishism or something like that. As this unfolds, there's a part of me that's, like, excited in the same way that, like, that I was as a kid when there would be a hurricane, like, bearing down on Myrtle Beach. Just because the excitement to learn about the unknown and that sort of thing. I felt the same way when there was a bomb threat at my high school. I was like, we all got to go kick the hacky sack on the football field while they tried to determine whether it was credible or not. And, you know, initially you're like, oh shit, the building's going to blow up with me in it. But then once your individual safety is sort of stabilized, there's this, for me anyway, there's this excitement about, wow, man, what's the shit going to do when it hits the fan? You know? What exactly is going to be the fallout from this? And I'm super curious about that. And I guess one of the places that I've been able to sort of like calm myself is in just being cognizant of the fact that everybody's a part of this. Everybody's being affected by this in some way or another. And there's not shit you can do about it, you know, except have as good a time as you can. And it's sort of changing my perspective on a bunch of things in that regard. Like, I've enjoyed drinking beers over the internet, talking to people that aren't in town with me. Mm-hmm. And that makes me, I got excited about the fact that my buddy Aaron is going to be in complete isolation, alone by himself. And that means that I have access to him whenever I want it. You know what I mean? But it's making me rethink the fact that I always looked at FaceTime like,
This left.
That's not worthwhile for me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, I don't want to do that. And to a certain degree, I do want to be with the people that I'm with. But if, it's like, you don't know what you have until it's gone, right? With these new limitations, it's making me wonder, like, maybe I should have kept in touch with all of my good friends from college a little bit more and stuff like that, Yeah. Because they're effectively, we went to my sister. I went to my sister's house yesterday, and we talked to each other through a screen door, and we were 10 or 12 feet apart from each other. Yeah. And so effectively, all of my friends that live in the South now are just as close to me as everybody else, except for you.
Yeah, with technology these days, it's like we don't have an excuse not to keep in touch with people.
Except
besides time.
Right, right. I will say though that like I don't know how to like quantify this without sounding like an asshole, but like if you're out of 10, if you're a 7 out of 10 in quality of people that I know, but I know an 8 that's across the country that I have to be on FaceTime to talk to, I'd rather hang out with you in person. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, jeez. You're so grumpy about phone calls.
Am I going this way?
To the left.
To the left. All right, we're going to attempt to go to Trader Joe's. And we should probably
I'm not going to go in.
You're not going in. That's what we've been doing, is that I'm the shopper. But we need to sit in the van for a couple of minutes and talk about what we're going to try to get before I go in there. Is that a good place
over here, so just
to end the podcast?
Yeah, I don't really know what we talked about, but hopefully something is interesting in here.
Well, I feel like nobody has the answers right now, and to the extent that everybody has a whole lot of time, hearing about the fact that the two of us have dealt with, anxiety and stress and sadness around this, might make them, might be interesting or comforting to them. And certainly insofar as everything in your world is crashing down, it can make them feel a little bit better than you.
Yeah. I hope so.
All right, well, let's do our shopping list. Thank you guys for listening. If you're still here, I apologize if the sound quality was shit. This was just the opportunity that we had to record something because we were going to be in the car for 45 minutes. Stay safe out there, and
take care of yourselves.
Yeah, take care of yourselves. Keep in touch. Thanks for listening. If you made it this far, we will try to come up with some other new content for From the Van podcast by next Tuesday.